Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. Man gives 4-bedroom house away for free, but there's one catch. She stood completely still. Her legs refused to move. She glanced around at the walls of her new house. Was this some kind of sick joke? She felt naive as she looked at the stains on the floor. But what she noticed in the corner of the room was what made her jump out of her shoes. What had she just seen? She'd soon realize why the house was free. Louisa Johnson recently left her town to move to another just south of Louisiana with her young daughter. They needed to get away. She found the most incredible house that she thought they could both start new lives in. She was ecstatic at the idea, but there would be a catch she'd never anticipated. And by then it would be too late. She and her daughter fled her husband in the dead of the night and drove 200 miles just to get away. They packed all their things, got in the car, and never looked back. Louisa drove all the way through the night while her daughter slept in the backseat of the car. She smiled. Things would get better. The two stayed with a friend while Louisa started a search for a job. Thankfully, soon she found a job at a local diner. Now she just needed to find a good house that would keep her daughter safe. But she had no idea how wrong things would go. It was hard to find the right home that was also affordable. Was it too much to ask to find a 2-bedroom house with a modest garden? But soon someone would enter her life that would help her. But that wouldn't end up being the case. As Louisa stood in front of the real estate agency, thinking of what she would do, something strange happened. Louisa was at her wit's end. She'd looked at so many houses and they either weren't affordable or just not what she was looking for. But then she felt a hand on her shoulder. She spun around to see an aged face. An elderly woman stared at her with piercing blue eyes and wispy white hair. She asked if she could help the woman. She blandly said, "Looking for a house?" She handed Louisa a piece of paper and shuffled away as abruptly as she appeared. Quickly, Louisa opened the piece of paper and, to her surprise, she saw a picture of a gorgeous, detached house. Then she saw how much this house was going for. $0. This house was free. But why? Boasting 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a large kitchen, and a gigantic backyard, it sounded perfect. But Louisa would soon learn this house was far from perfect. Underneath the picture was a cell phone number, and for a brief moment, Louisa debated what to do. Was there a reason this house wasn't at the estate agency? Should she even take advice from a complete stranger? She dismissed her thoughts and got out her cell phone. She dialed the number, feeling both excited and nervous. But little did Louisa know she was going to regret calling this number. After nearly a minute of waiting, finally the number picked up and Louisa heard "hello" in her ear. Louisa quickly introduced herself and explained that she was interested in the house she had seen. The seller, named Mikey, was over the moon to hear Louisa's interest in the house. He insisted she come over straight away, and Louisa agreed. She had nothing to lose, but she was soon going to realize she did. Louisa drove to the address of the house, and already she could feel butterflies in her stomach. The drive was quite long. This house was further out than she had hoped, but she didn't care. She pulled up and Louisa was completely gobsmacked with how huge the house was in real life. Louisa was already sold. What could be wrong with this? She quietly muttered to herself. But Louisa was soon going to find out. As Louisa pulled in, she could see a man was stood at the front of the house. Louisa got out and the man came rushing over, a gigantic smile on his face. "You must be Louisa. I'm Mikey," the man said. The two introduced each other and Mikey swiftly kicked off the tour of the house. Louisa set foot inside her potential new home, not knowing what was coming to her. Walking around the house, Louisa reveled in the excitement. She could already picture her daughter playing in the backyard and herself baking cookies in the stunning Victorian kitchen. Accompanied by Mikey, Louisa could tell he was enjoying her excitement and optimism for this house. Maybe he was just happy for her. But Louisa had no idea what Mikey's hidden agenda was. The house needed some work, but nothing too drastic. A few coats of paint and a tidy-up. Louisa saw a dark red stain on the living room floor, but that was nothing a bottle of bleach couldn't fix. After seeing every area of the house, Louisa was confident she was making the right decision. But little did she know she was making a huge mistake. Mikey completed his tour of the house and then started to explain to Louisa about the history. The house was his grandmother's, and unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago. Louisa was sad to hear that. She lost her grandfather a few years ago, so she could sympathize with Mikey. The two then went into the living room to discuss the house over coffee, but she had no idea what was coming. Sitting in the living room amongst the gorgeous furniture and spacious rooms, Louisa had a feeling this house was too good to be true. Why would a house like this be given away for free? It sounded absurd. There had to be some sort of catch. And Louisa was right. There was a catch. And when she found out what it was, she was left feeling sick to her stomach. As Louisa and Mikey sipped on their coffees, Mikey said, "Oh, I forgot to ask, how did you find out about this old house?" Louisa placed her coffee on the crystal table in front of her, and she replied, "An old woman showed it to me in town." As soon as Louisa said that, she saw Mikey's face go as white as a ghost, as if he just heard something truly terrifying. Confused, Louisa asked what was wrong. But then suddenly she saw something in the corner of the room. It was a picture hung up on the wall, a portrait of an old woman. It was Mikey's grandmother, Mikey's dead grandmother. And it was the same old woman who showed Louisa this house a few hours ago. Louisa sat frozen in her tracks, and a terrible feeling hit the pit of her stomach. "Your grandmother," Louisa said, her voice trembling, "she's the old woman who showed me this house this morning." Mikey's mouth dropped open, and he put his hands over his face. Louisa didn't know what to do. She wanted to run out of this house and get as far away as possible, but she also wanted answers. "Mikey, what's going on?" she asked. Mikey looked at her and started to reveal the truth. You see, the reason that this house was free was due to the fact that many people have claimed it's haunted. Many people have said the ghost of Mikey's grandmother, Adele, haunts the halls. Mike himself had never seen anything out of the ordinary, but he also made sure to stay far away from the house as he could. What about Louisa? Knowing all of this, was this house still the house of her dreams? When Louisa heard the truth, she decided to not go ahead with living there. Normally, she didn't believe in the paranormal, but after the encounter with the old woman, aka Adele, she felt different. Instead, she managed to find a smaller, two-bedroomed house. But Louisa didn't mind. After all, wouldn't you rather have one less bedroom than a ghost lodger? Please share this with your friends and family.